In this video, I'm going to tell you about 7 reasons why Manchester United had another humiliating defeat in Europe to Copenhagen this time. In this match, we lost 4-3, a really, really bad match. So let's start with the reasons. Reason number one, weak mentality. These group of players have gone from having the most clean sheets last season to this season conceding at least 2 to 3 goals every game. The reason for that is really simple. As soon as we add injuries to our main players like Shaw and Martinez, the belief from the defense line has gone. Once we concede 1 goal, you always know that United is going to concede at least a few more goals. They just can't stop conceding. There's also a problem that once we go ahead, we score a goal, our players seem to switch off. They don't seem to concentrate, they don't seem to focus and concede again. These players are not focused enough. They cannot defend together. And when we go ahead, they always seem to have a lack of attention and somehow concede really silly goals. You can say that a part of this is Ten Hag's fault that he's not making them concentrate enough. But at some point, I have to question that why do players like Varane, why do players like Casemiro also suffer from this lack of attention? I think it's the toxic environment of this club that is making them incompetent. And this toxic environment at the club will continue until we have the Glazers. All of this incompetence stems from the top. As long as we have the Glazers at the club, some sort of incompetence will trickle down from the top to these players. I know it's a little far-fetched of an idea, but it does affect the players. I don't know why they are having such low mentality this season and they seem to crumble at every difficult step. But as soon as Rashford got that red card, we all knew that this match could go really wrong, and it really did. My second reason is that referees had some horrible decisions in the match today. The first horrible decision was Rashford's red card. That was never a red card. Rashford was just trying to shield the ball and he was trying to put his foot on the ground. But somehow the Copenhagen player got his foot under Rashford's foot and they slowed it down in the VAR and they gave a red card. If the referee on field didn't think that was a red card, I don't know why VAR is intercepting in it and saying it's a red card and showing it in slow motion. It all went wrong for Manchester United because of this red card. The second horrible decision was Copenhagen's first goal that they scored. Because in this goal, if you look at this exact picture, there's a Copenhagen player who's in front of Onana and he's in offside position. This goal should have never been allowed, but somehow the VAR didn't check it. Of course, because somehow this season's trend is that every referee decision which can go against us will go against us. So because of these two horrible decisions, Manchester United were always going to be in trouble. Yes, we shouldn't have conceded this many goals. We shouldn't have conceded 4 goals after being 2-0 up, even with 10 men on field. But because of a combination of poor refereeing and weak mentality of these players, we lost horribly. Third reason is our defense seems to be incapable of dealing with crosses. There would be a few steps for dealing with crosses. One is stopping the cross at the wing. Second is our centre backs winning the header inside the box. Third is our fullback marking the back post. And fourth would be our defensive midfielders marking the runners from the opposite midfield. But with United, we can't seem to do any of these 4 steps. None of our fullbacks could stop a cross or mark the back post. As we saw with Copenhagen's third goal, where Dalot just conceded a goal at the back post. Even Wan Bissaka had numerous instances where Copenhagen players were picking up ball back post or just crossing in front of him. Maguire and Varane are supposed to be really good at winning headers, but in this match, they couldn't win it for their life. They just conceded poor headers after poor headers, and I think most of our goals, two or three goals that we conceded, were from crosses again. This is actually a very interesting stat that out of the 38 goals that we have conceded this season, 12 of them have been from crosses. 1 in 3 goal is from a poorly defended cross. That's shameful. If you like my reasons so far and like my content, please click on the subscribe button below and give me a like. I would really appreciate it. Going back to the reasons, reason number 4. Ten Hag is not to blame completely for this match because up until the Rashford's red card, we were in cruise control. We were probably going to win 4-0 or something. But there is some points that Ten Hag needs to be responsible for. The first issue that I had with Ten Hag is in the last minutes of the game, when we are still winning, he decided to take off Hojlund and put on Mount. I just don't understand why. Hojlund was our only out boy. He was the only one who was trying to keep the ball or link the play. But as soon as he went off, Copenhagen were able to push the line even higher up into a half and just retain the ball at all times. If he was going to sub off Hojlund, at least put on Martial, at least put on one striker within Copenhagen. If you don't want to put a striker, at least move Garnacho or Bruno into this striker role and put Pelistri on or Anthony on, just someone who could have led to a counter-attack or who could have kept Copenhagen's backline a bit further back. But this one was his fault, Ten Hag's fault. Another one was that during the later stages of the game, both Wan-Bissaka and Dalot making many mistakes. So they needed to be subbed off. I know we don't have choices, but at least one of them needed to be subbed off to bring in Reguilon or to bring in Lindelof. But because he didn't make those subs, he conceded a goal at the back post. My fifth reason for losing this match is individual errors. We have already seen this season how 9-man Liverpool only conceded 1 goal against Spurs, or like how 9-man Spurs with a really high line against Chelsea conceded 4 goals. But somehow, this Manchester United side with 10 men conceded 4 goals. This can only be explained because a lot of these players are making really basic mistakes. For example, Onana had a pass from Wan-Bissaka where he didn't control it properly. It went out for a corner and we conceded from that corner. We had Varane who wasn't passing properly. We had Wan-Bissaka and Dalot who just couldn't defend their flanks in the last 20 minutes. We also had Bruno who had a really simple layoff in a 3v4 situation to McTominay, but he put the ball behind McTominay. We also had Amrabat who were making countless passing mistakes. So it was a culmination of a lot of individual errors which just brought the whole performance down. And it was only a matter of time where we would have lost the game, which we eventually did. My fifth reason is that there seems to be a huge issue with Varane and Ten Hag. Earlier in the last few weeks, we were getting reports that there's no fight, there's just injury issue, which we now can see that was all false. And there's an actual fight between Ten Hag and Varane. As soon as Evans got injured and Varane was told to come on, you could see it on his face that he was really upset and that he didn't want to be a part of it, that he wasn't interested to play. And when he did come on the field, he was making a lot of mistakes. I really like Varane. He was phenomenal last season. And when we went down a man with Josh's red card, we were 10 men and we had to defend a 2-0 lead. I was thinking that I'm glad we have Varane because he will stabilize our defense and we won't concede goals. But there is some problem with Varane and Ten Hag because Varane was just awful, and he was also responsible for um, at least one of the goals. This might be the end of Varane at the club, and he might actually leave in January, which I would be really sad to see. My last reason for us losing this match in a humiliating manner is because there is no chemistry in the team. There is no communication. You could see it in the match that our defenders weren't communicating with each other. I don't know if it's because Varane and Maguire have a fight or Maguire isn't leading the defense. If Onana is not communicating properly, but our defense as a whole, not even defense, our team as a whole, there's just no chemistry in it. They don't seem to be aware of what the other person is supposed to do. Because of that, they themselves are not doing their own job properly. I can only think that it's because of a loss of confidence that the team is suffering from and the weak mentality that it's resulting in them doubting their own teammates and not trusting them to do their job. So because of that nervousness, they themselves make a lot of mistakes. And this all stems from lack of communication between the players. Because if we had as well of a defense as in last season, where there was clear communication, clear roles, clear responsibilities, I don't think we would have conceded 4 goals, even with a man down. I just can't think of it. There's a lot of wrong in this club, but sacking Ten Hag isn't going to solve it. Yes, this was a humiliating defeat. Yes, we might go out of Europe, but sacking Ten Hag is not the answer for this. Before I end the video, I have a few other points I wanted to talk about. The first point is that we have the Champions League top scorer in our team, Rasmus Hojlund. You have to be really proud of that kid because only at 20 years old, he has scored 5 Champions League goals in 4 games. Yet the sad thing about this is none of those goals matter. He scored a brace against Galatasaray, we lost. Scored a brace today, we lost. So you really have to feel sorry for Rasmus because the team is letting him down massively. My other talking point is before the red card, for the first 40 minutes, we were playing so well. Ten Hag actually chose the right team, the right tactics. We were in cruise control. We would have won 4-0. So this shows that Ten Hag was not the problem in this match. We were gonna win this match easily. So blaming only Ten Hag for this match is not acceptable and shouldn't happen. But we all know how the media is and how much they want Ten Hag to get fired because that's what gets them clicks. Ten Hag did make some mistakes with the substitutions, but he was not at fault for this capitulation by this whole team. Another point I want to talk about is that we are now bottom of the group with only 3 points from 4 games. Normally, a team would be knocked out, but we are only staying in this group because the other teams, Galatasaray and Copenhagen, are at 4 points each. Our only route to qualifying from this group is defeating Galatasaray away and defeating Bayern at home, which are really near impossible tasks. I would not be surprised if we lost both of these games and Copenhagen goes to Europa League. That would be not be surprising to me. We have to play the match away to Galatasaray without Rashford because of the red card. So I don't know how will we win that match because if we are losing to Copenhagen, we will definitely lose to Galatasaray away. And Bayern are probably gonna fold us. So this season actually depends now on us doing an impossible task of winning our next two games, because that's the only way we can qualify. The last point is the clock is ticking for Ten Hag. He now has 9 defeats out of 17 matches. We all know that there are numerous off-field problems, whether it's the ownership saga or the Sancho drama or now the Varane drama, the numerous injuries, like a lot of things which is not in Ten Hag's control, which have led to these defeats. But the issue is that him losing 9 games out of 17 is a fact. And if we lose to Luton on Saturday, or if we get knocked out at Galatasaray, then I'm afraid he might actually get sacked. The only thing keeping Ten Hag in the job are two things. One is that there's not a real manager option there, which we can get immediately. And the second is that until the ownership thing gets resolved, like whether Jim Ratcliffe comes in or something other happens, I don't think they're going to make a decision on the manager. There is a possibility that as soon as Sir Jim comes in, that he might sack Ten Hag. But for now, he is on borrowed time. And the team and Ten Hag needs to get their shit together and get a lot of results in a row. If you liked my video, then I would once again like to ask you to please click on the subscribe button below and give me a like. I would also like to know your opinions in the comment section below. If you like this content, I have similar content based on other teams and Champions League. You can check it out in the playlist, which will follow in the outro video, as well as my last video, which was trying to figure out who is going to qualify from the Champions League group of death. I'll see you all in my next video. Goodbye.